All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Garden State Growth Show. Today, we're very excited to have our special guest, Carney Freifogel. Am I saying that right?
Yes,
the
sir.
third of CR3 American Home Exteriors. Not just roofs, Greg. I know you said roofs when we got here.
Yeah, roofs?
No, I
What?
said exteriors.
Oh, weird.
Windows, doors, siding,
No way.
Lester,
Lester.
gutters. Did I say shingles, Greg?
No, you didn't.
Okay. Carney is a mere 31 years old. He built a roofing business to 15 million, people say, by age 25. And today, CR3 American Home Exteriors has 35 franchise locations. Is that right?
Awarded, yes.
Nice. That's a lot in a short amount of time. Most people are still figuring out what they want to do with their life at 31. Take us back to like where it all started. What was your first job?
So I have, I'd say, kind of a unique background, but also not very unique at the same time. It's very vanilla and very boring.
Mm-hmm.
My childhood, I grew up in the construction industry. My father, grandfather, great-grandfather, all those guys built and developed houses. And from a super young age, I was going out to job sites helping these guys out when it came to these homes that they were building. So naturally, just coming up in that space and in that industry, it was a means for me to make money. My father was teaching me how to work hard. And I remember a time when I wasn't a skilled laborer at all. He just get me to move a pile of bricks just for the shits of it, just to get me to do some
So you
work.
know how heavy they are.
And one of the things that really stuck with me, and I think if we're fortunate enough to be parents in the future, I think this is something that I'm going to do with my children as well, which is my parents helped me to get things like a vehicle, for instance, when I turned 16, but they made me have to pay them back.
Right.
So we all had like a portion. I think it was like $2,000 that my parents said that they would pay for the children because I'm the youngest of three. I got two older sisters, and
They didn't want to do construction?
now. Well, it's funny. My middle sister, a sister that's older than me, she's actually a Seabee in the Navy, which is actually
nice.
like an engineer of the Navy. So she's like kind of like me, but a little bit more badass because she's got a gun. So, but anyway, my parents allocated it was something like $2,000 for everybody's first vehicle, and then anything in excess of that, we had to pay them back.
Yeah.
So that taught me at a very young age to kind of work for what you wanted.
Yep.
And my mother, a lot of people would be like, oh, that's kind of strict and kind of petty, but like it taught me a lot of really good lessons during the school year because I'd work during the summer with my father to make money.
Right.
During the school year when I wasn't making any money, my mom would give me her credit card to go get fuel for my vehicle. And then I'd have to bring her back the receipt. And then she kept an IOU type tab.
Wow.
No
And
way.
then, yeah, I swear. And then when I would go work during the summer, I'd get my weekly paycheck from my father.
Yeah.
A portion of it I got to keep for myself, and then a portion of it I gave back to my parents to pay off my debt that I had.
Yeah.
For them. So it was kind of unique, and at the time I didn't kind of recognize what they were doing.
Right.
And what they were teaching me is to work for the things that I wanted, and if you have a debt, figure out
And
how
the
to
value
pay it.
of money.
a value of a dollar. So naturally, that's what I did growing up, and
Yeah.
I played a lot of sports in high school. I was the captain of football team, captain of the lacrosse team. So always kind of just had like that leadership mentality.
You didn't wrestle?
No wrestling.
Come
No
on.
wrestle, really?
Wrestling's big in PA.
No. A lot of our employees, actually, we have two of them that are state champs. One's a
Oh, wow.
Maryland state champ. The other's a PA state champ. So
Wow.
if you want to get tied into a pretzel, come hang out and see her.
There we go.
But
I could last about 10 seconds, I think, in a wrestling match.
so grew up playing sports, was super competitive there, played at a very high level.
Yeah.
And it was like I had a lot of attention specifically for lacrosse to go play collegiate sports.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I was so wishy-washy of where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. And then I started looking at it for what it was. I'm like, dude, I'm going to go spend probably $40,000 a year
Right.
to go to college. I don't even know why I want to be here other than to play sports and probably drink
Yeah.
alcohol.
Exactly.
So I just decided like, hey, I just don't think this is for me. So I strapped on a tool belt, started helping my father.
And this is
full-time.
you at 17, 18?
17, 18 years old. Yeah, once you graduate high school. And I wasn't technically like an employee. My father never had employees, so
Yeah.
I had to get a sole proprietorship. I had to get my own little EIN or file under my Social Security I
Wow.
mean, my social security number, but then I also had to be mindful of taxes at the end of the year. Since I was self-employed, I didn't have payroll taxes coming out.
Right.
So dad taught me another valuable lesson.
Yeah.
as
It's a
well.
little wake up call, right? Oh,
Yeah, so it's
taxes?
like-
What? What's this?
At such a young age, you're like, that my parents like kind of forced me to understand real life super quick. And
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for that. So I've never had like an actual job. I've always been an independent contractor or business owner now. And from 18 to 21 years old, I'd help my dad. And if he wasn't busy, I'd call up a buddy or somebody else in the industry and put on a tool belt and go help those guys. So,
Do you think like that early lessons you learned on money kind of helped you make that decision on college of like kind of looking at the ROI and what you'd get back?
I don't think I was looking at it that deep when I was that young, but I think, yeah, I do. I don't think I recognized why I was making that decision, but looking back in hindsight, I think I'm looking at it. I'm like, hey, I could go in to $100,000 plus of debt, or I could go make $100,000.
Yeah, that's a big bill to pay mom.
Well, and then the bonus of having flexibility when all your friends are in college,
exactly.
you can go hang out at their college. You got
That's
money
true.
and they don't.
Right?
You're the cool guy.
They
at the bar.
definitely didn't have money. Right.
So
That's awesome.
Yeah. Long story short, I had that pivotal moment where it was go work or go to college. Decided to work, did that, and just kind of had a come to Jesus moment. I actually, it's crazy. I don't really talk about it a whole lot, but I got introduced to somebody who gave me a book to read, which was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Oh, yeah,
book, great book.
good book.
And I was never exposed to that world as a kid. Like I wasn't exposed to reading books like that.
Right.
It's the first real self-improvement book that I ever read. And the second I read it, I think I read it in like 24 hours.
Wow.
And when I got done, it's like, I got smacked right in the face. I'm like,
Yeah.
what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like I'm going to work. I'm working from Monday to Friday, working for the weekend. The weekend comes and goes, and I hate Monday. And like I'm stuck in this rhythm that the majority of society is in, and I'm like, this shit doesn't feel right. I don't like.
Yeah, the rat
I don't.
race.
I don't like feeling this way. So then I just read that book, and it's like I just come to Jesus moment, had a mental mind shift, and stopped looking at work as a means to pay bills, and started looking at it as a means to chase some type of lifestyle that I wanted in the future. So my job didn't change. I just woke up one day and had a different perspective and started taking things a little bit more serious, started investing some time and money into additional skills. At the time, I was very interested in the sales. I spent like, I'm sure you guys know who Grant Cardone is. I spent like $1,500 of my own money to buy Cardone U when I was still working for my dad as a contractor with a tool belt on, just because I knew if I could learn sales, I could sell more for us, which ultimately would hopefully make me more money. So I actually went to my father back when I was 21 years old. So you don't know this about me. This is going to be pretty interesting for you. So when I was coming up and I read the Robert Kiyosaki book, and he's real big into real estate, and I started looking at different ways to create financial wealth and things like that. And I thought real estate was going to be my vehicle. So I went and I studied. When I wasn't working with my father, I got my real estate license, and I went to my dad with this bright idea. I didn't even tell him. I studied for it, got my real estate license. I'm like, hey, Dad, let's flip houses. I got my real estate license.
Oh my God.
I had no money, by the way. I had like, probably had less than $1,000 in my checking account.
Pass it the first time? How hard was that test?
Yeah, I did pass it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Greg, not so much.
Not so much.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's a ton of trick questions tucked in there. All of those. What is it? A PSI, PSA?
That test is more of like an endurance test. I feel like it's so long that most people just like quit halfway through and just start putting ABC, ABC, ABC. Right? I feel like you kind of have to have some kind of fortitude just to get through that test.
Yep. So I went through that. Went to my father. And he was the guy with the money. I didn't have any money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I want to do this. He's like, yeah, no, thanks. I've been doing this, busting my back for 30 years. I'm not going to risk money on a 21-year-old. And rightfully so. I don't blame him. Looking back, I wouldn't do it either. So I was kind of deflated, and I'm like, well, shit, I'll walk through homes. I'll sell real estate, and I'll still work. I'll just kind of pull from both extremes until I figure out what I want to do. And then I started looking at roofing, And I went to my father. I said, dude, we need to open a roofing company. He's like, yeah, no, I'm not really interested in that. I'm like, dude, I'm telling you. At the time,
At this time, he's building houses.
building houses, doing custom homes, custom remodels and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I mean, he did probably $750 to $1 million a year. So he did well
Yeah.
for himself and for the family. But I knew I didn't want to have a tool belt on for the rest of my life. And I had the opportunity to inherit what he had and what he had built. But it just didn't interest me.
Right.
So I wanted a little bit more. I went to my father, said, hey, let's start a roofing company. He was really on the fence with it. I was trying to push my parents to digitize their company, get a website and stuff like that. And they weren't interested. They were at a point in life where the majority of their things were paid for, and they weren't really ready to take risks.
Right.
They were on the third or fourth quarter of their career.
Yeah.
And you got this young, ambitious 21-year-old that wants to take on the world. It's kind of like,
What was it you saw that attracted you to the roofing business?
I just saw that it was super scalable. So with being in new home construction and dealing with all these trades, I saw how difficult it was to get people to go in and out of homes.
Right.
And like, you have to trust these people. And if you don't
Yeah.
trust them, you got to babysit them. And to me, that seems super inefficient.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have to let you in somebody's house so you don't steal their belongings. And I got to make sure that you do a really good job. It's just, there's people that can do it and do it very effectively that have made a lot of money. But for me, I didn't see it as super scalable, at least in the time frame that I wanted to do it. So at the time, the largest local roofing contractor was doing 100 roofs.
Yeah.
And I actually went to one of our distributing partners. I'm like, hey, I'm opening a roofing company. And I said, like, I've always been super respectful, but I've always been very competitive. And I'm like, I'm gonna fuck those dudes up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a lot more than 100 roofs. And I
Per year.
This guy he probably doesn't even remember he said this to me, but he's like, Aaron, no way. There's no way that you can do over 100 roofs. I'm like, I promise you, in less than a year, I'll do over 100 roofs. And so fast forward, I started the company.
Who was it to start? Literally just you?
Yeah. So I went to my parents, had a sit down conversation, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to go a different direction. I'd love for you guys to do this with me, but I see something else. And I have a phenomenal relationship with my parents. They're my best friends. Like, we communicate and talk all day long. So
that's cool.
I went ahead, decided that was the decision that I was going to make, and I had no idea what I was going to do. I was walking through homes. I called a buddy of mine that had a couple buddies of mine. They own a large real estate development company, and said, hey, do you got any new construction roofs that I can bid? Fortunately, good friends. They're like, yeah, go ahead if you can meet these numbers. So I did some new construction roofs, put guys on a roof. They were working. I'd go ahead, walk some buyers through some houses. So I'd sell a little bit of real estate, have guys on a roof. I was making money doing that. And then I started to recognize that insurance was a thing in our industry. I knew nothing about it. And I'm like, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Paid a little bit of attention, talked to some people. And then I'm just like, dude, whatever. I'm going to go knock on a door and tell somebody I can get the roof paid for because the roof looks like crap. I knocked on a door. It was missing shingles. And I fed them this story about how I show her from time to time because it's low. It's like 10 minutes from where we live. So every time we drive past it, I'm like, that's the first insurance claim I ever did.
Wow.
And it was missing shingles. I knocked on the door. Some dude, older dude, came out in his underwear and he's like, what do you want?
Oh my God. That was your first door knock?
I'm like, hey, your roof's pretty busted. I think I can help you guys out. I think we can file an insurance claim and get this thing taken care of. So we, to my good fortune, they let me do it. Through that process, I learned a lot, talked to the insurance adjuster, looked to see what legitimate damage was. Then I got this estimate, had no idea how to read it. It looked like a foreign language.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I probably did it completely wrong. So we did that, and I'm like, holy crap, this is crazy. I have the power, if I want to work hard, to go knock on a random door and turn it in thousands of dollars.
Yeah, pull money out of the ground.
So then I really got interested in it.
Yeah.
And then started to understand it, got a little bit better, had 1/10 of the knowledge that I have right now, but I just had a little bit of grit. And
did you have before you started knocking on doors, did you like write out a script?
No.
Or you just like, I'm going to wing it?
Like, hey, I'm driving
Your
past
roof
here.
sucks.
This dude's missing shingles. I think we can get this paid for with insurance. Had no idea how it was going to happen.
Wow.
So through that process, learned a little bit, started running some different claims with hail and wind, ran a few, got a few under my belt, just got a pretty firm understanding of what was going on. And then to my good fortune, the spring of so I started the company in the fall of 2017. the spring of 2018, I think it was like March, we got hit with a really good hailstorm in like what I would consider my backyard, about 15 minutes from where I grew up.
Roofers love hailstorms.
Yep.
Yeah, and I called my cousin at the time because he was kind of in limbo too, and I'm like, hey, dude, if there's ever been an opportunity to make some real money, it's right now. Like, hey, join me. Let's figure this out. Let's just roll. He's like, all right. So we went around knocking on doors, stuck signs in yards. Now my father's still running his construction company.
Yeah.
I still live at home, by the way.
Wow.
So I come home one day and I got like $250,000 in purchase orders, and I'm like, hey, Dad, can you help your little boy out?
Yeah.
I'm like, I need a little bit of help right now because I think I'm getting in over my head. And Dad,
All door knocking.
yeah.
Wow.
I mean, we didn't even have a website. We just had a logo and we're going around knocking on doors. So
Wow.
we generated a ton of business. Dad was kind enough to help me out, and he told me, hey, I'm gonna come help you and get you out of this funk that you're in. But once you get out, I'm done. Like, I'm gonna help you get to where you need to get to. You get organized, figure out what you're gonna do. But like, you gotta be a big boy now. You want to run a company. So
Get your own crew.
it was me, my father, and my cousin. We did $2.3 million that year.
Wow. That's
And
fun.
say again?
Yeah, congrats.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Just you guys are on the roof?
No.
Oh.
We were just selling, and then we had some sub crews that were coming in and doing the work. And
Okay.
before you know it, my father's like, hey, I just want to run the projects. I don't want to be a part of this insurance thing, because he thought it was like kind of fraudulent.
Yeah.
It was foreign to a lot of us 7 or 8 years ago. So naturally, he got pulled into it. Next thing you know, my dad's top performing salesperson. I'd say less than a year into me starting the business, my father gave up his whole business.
Wow.
and then joined us as an employee.
Oh,
So
no
No
way.
way.
yeah, it's crazy. That's my dad's. He's the best dad that ever exists. Like, he made the ultimate sacrifice of like, and he didn't let his ego get in the way of his son going and chasing his own dream. He supported me.
Yeah,
right.
It's so rare.
It was what was really cool. I got goosebumps. What was really cool about it is my father. I gave him a different way to make money, which for me was like that's probably one of my proudest things that I've accomplished, is the fact that my father had to make money with a tool belt because that's the skill that he possessed.
Yeah.
And then when I started the company and he got to experience this new way of making money by selling projects and stuff like that. I mean, dude, we paid him $235,000 in a year for selling and running projects, and that's more than he made in his best year, breaking his back running his own construction company.
Wow.
And not having to break his back anymore.
Yeah, you had other guys doing it, so that was super cool. My mom actually was kind of against me starting the company, but then once she saw that, she was real grateful, because then my father wasn't 50 years old walking up on 2x4 walls 30 feet up in the air.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you start to question, like, as you get older, stability. And my father's in crazy good shape. He looks like a freaking Spartan. But you just, I don't know, you start to get concerned about that stuff. Somebody falls or something like that. And it was super cool to be able to give him that opportunity. And then me be fortunate enough to have a dad that's that great that would give up everything to help me. So we did 2.3 that year, and that was the catalyst for the growth that we were about to experience. I brought a partner on that was twice my age and had some business experience, because I called a real good buddy of mine, the commercial real estate developers that I helped to do some new construction roofing early on. I'm like, hey, dude, I think I'm making money, but I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm like living out of a shoebox.
Yeah.
I need to get organized. I never built a company before. I'm 22 years old.
The problems change as the more money you make.
It's crazy, and I never been there before, so it was all foreign and new to me. And he just laughed. He's like, "Hey, we got a business coach." At the time, those guys were doing about 40 or 50 million. He's like, "Hey, we got a business coach. I'm going to introduce you to him."
Right.
So I got introduced to him some way, somehow. At 22, 23 years old, I convinced him to give up his whole coaching practice and join me on this mission.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I gotta get a good way of getting whatever I want.
Just stop everything you're doing. Come work with me.
Yeah. So he joined me, and we went from 2.3 million to 7.7 the year after that. Year after that, we did 10.3. And
Was he like your CO, like operations guy?
more,
what was his role?
I mean, me and him are both very, very involved from an operational perspective. But more of a CFO type
finance.
role. He was a public accountant, so he understands
good.
finance, and that's something that, like, I'm not interested in. I don't care. I don't even know how to log into my own QuickBooks. I've never been in QuickBooks ever. I've never made an entry in QuickBooks. So
Probably for the best.
Yeah.
yeah, like I don't even know how to get into my own checking account.
Right. Wow.
Like
Focus on something that you're actually really, really, really good at.
say
and
that
bring it-
again.
Like focus on something that you're really good at
Well-
and go deep in that one versus trying to be jack of all trades.
Yeah, there's a really big lesson and with what we do now with working with franchisees, you have people that are trying to strike strategic partnerships and stuff like that.
Right.
And people are always asking me, hey, what do you think about a partner? I always relate partners to marriages where like we have people who've had failed marriages say, worst thing I ever did, don't do it, I'll never get married again. And then you have people who have successful marriages and they're like, best thing I've ever done, I couldn't do it without my partner, right?
Right.
So it's the same thing, but where a lot of people go wrong, in my opinion, which is why I believe it's worked pretty well for us up until this point, is we have totally different skill sets. So like
Right.
what he's good at, he stays in his lane, and what I'm good at, I stay in my lane. And then it's not so much this tit for tat BS that everybody plays, because like I understand that you do things that I don't want to do, and vice versa. The biggest thing that I see is people get a partner and they get somebody that has a similar skill set to them because they enjoy talking and
Right.
communicating with that person because they're very similar in nature.
Yeah.
But it's very counterintuitive in business because we always say it all the time. If both of us in the same room have the same skill set and we agree on everything, one of us is useless.
Right.
So then
a good point.
Very good point.
naturally what happens is you get a partner, you both are doing relative to the same thing. Somebody starts to pick up the whatever that payload is,
Yeah.
and the other person becomes like non-existent because they're not necessary anymore. Somebody's doing those operational things that person's good at, but they can't do them because they're already getting done by another party. And then that person doesn't know what to do because they're not good at anything else.
Yeah.
This person gets irritated because they're like, hey, I'm doing all the work and you're not doing shit. And they're like, I don't have a skill set to do anything
Yeah.
else. So, in a long-winded way, that's my.
I think a lot of people get in this trap where they're kind of good at everything, so they stay mediocre,
yeah.
but they never allow themselves to get great.
Yeah,
And what you did kind of early on was put the right people in the right seats, where they could excel and be great in their lane.
yeah, it's I've never really had that, and a lot of it's me being super self-aware. I've never really had that problem that a lot of small business owners have of like relinquishing control, because like I don't know, it's just never really been a thing for me. Like I still manage people, I still probably micromanage people from time to time, but for the most part, like I just let people to operate freely. All I care about is, are we getting the result that we need? Other
Yeah.
than that, like let's get to work.
If you could go back to when you first started your roofing business, and give yourself advice at 21 years old, what would that be?
I don't know, because it sounds cliche, but I'm incredibly grateful for what I went through.
I'm not sure you could have done it any better, but
Well, yeah, dude. In 4 years, we went from zero. I had $2,500 in my checking account, and we went from nothing, a company that was, inception in 2017, to a $14.7 million company in 4 years.
yeah.
Like we made mistakes. Don't get me wrong. I wrote an entire book, how to get from $0 to $10 million and do it all over again if I had to start today. And trust me,
What's the name of that book?
if I started today, I think. And it's only accessible to people that join our team.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Oh, really?
yeah, it costs you 40.
not on
grand to get the
Amazon.
book.
It's not on Amazon.
It's a franchise fee to get the book.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a peek inside my brain and the lessons that I've learned, the things that I wasted money on, the different hiring skills that I would use today that I had to learn through trial and error. So it sounds silly to say it, but like, dude, I wouldn't change anything because I feel incredibly grateful to be 31 years old around the people that we have, to be growing this organization at this point in time.
Yeah.
This industry is just red hot right now. There's so much explosive growth that's about to take place in the next 10 to 15 years. And I talk to Lester and the team all the time about how fortunate we are to be at this point in time in this industry. There's a lot of industries.
Why is that?
Luck, dumb luck. I was born at the right time. Like, yeah, I mean, I feel super grateful to be who I am, where I'm at today, and it's incredibly exciting to look at where we believe that we're going to be at in the next 3 to 5 years.
Talk to us a little bit what's going on like in the industry about the consolidation. Private equities trying to consolidate a lot of blue collar jobs. It seems like, right? Like HVAC, plumbing, and um, what opportunity are they seeing in those type of industries?
I mean, every industry consolidates. We've seen everything from hardware to medical to hospitality. Like we stayed in a hotel last night, and it was bought by Marriott. Like that's every industry tends to consolidate. It seems like, but the service industries are highly fragmented. There's really no controlling party that just absolutely dominates at a national scale. So they see it as an attractive option. They see it as also a necessity versus just a want. And private equity is we kind of try to villainize them sometimes, which I think is not the right thing to do, because it's like private equity over here, franchise over here, and we're kind of competing against each other, but not at the same time, because their target contractor is much different from our target contractor. But I'm very grateful for those guys coming into our industry, because they've given us the opportunity to do what we're about to do.
Right.
And they also forced me to reflect on our own business, me and my partner, and say, oh shit, we either sell, because at 26 years old doing 14.7 million, private equity was knocking on my door,
really?
calling, texting. They call my father 3 times a week because he got the same name as me. So
Nice.
he forwards me voicemails at least 2 or 3 times a week still.
How did you turn that
firms.
down at that age?
I
Were
mean,
they offering like 3 to 5 times NOI?
Yeah, I mean, so they're all looking at EBITDA, and it depends. So like I've ran different scenarios through ChatGPT, and I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
what is a franchise concept worth? And they're like, it could be worth 10 to 12.
EBITDA, really?
Yeah. Well, because reoccurring revenue versus just like a regular traditional mom and pop shop. But anyway, I'm grateful for those guys coming into our space, because it challenged me to look at what we were doing. And what we recognized was, okay, 26 years old, got a lot of life to live.
Yeah.
If I sign a 3-year non-compete, whether I roll over equity or not, like I'm probably not going to be here forever. So what am I going to do then? Like
Right.
that money's only going to last so long. It's not like they give me $100 million.
And it's not like you were hurting for money anyway.
No. So it's like at 26 years old, I have the opportunity to push the issue here and go another 20, 30 years and still be 50.
Yeah,
exactly.
Still relatively young.
Yeah.
So, but the nice thing about them is they applied that pressure that we needed to look and self-reflect and look at the company and say, okay, if we're not going to sell, if we're not going to exit, we need a growth strategy to keep up with these people. Because if not, then I'm going to be forced to sell, and I don't want to be in that position. I don't want to be in a position of weakness. So what we did was we analyzed everything. I always joke and say that we took a real calculated decision and spent a whole whopping 24 hours on figuring out the direction that we wanted to go. And we landed on franchising. We said that's where we're going to go. That's what we want to do. We see it as super scalable. And the one thing that I found through growing the business over the first 4 years is we wanted a lot of our people, and more specifically managers, to act like owners,
Right.
which is very ignorant of me as a business owner to think that my managers are going to act like an owner when they're not an owner.
Right.
If they don't have equity, they don't have stock at the company, how could I possibly think that they're going to act and operate that way? So that perspective, I lost a lot of money doing that, right? By paying people
Yeah.
6-figure salaries to manage people and manage them ineffectively because they weren't taking any ownership. But I'm grateful for that, because it showed us that, hey, we need to find a way to create ownership, which then ultimately led us to look at franchising. And then it was like, holy crap, people invest money with us to grow our own brand, to have ownership, and then they also pay us.
Right.
So it's a super cool model. And then you also look at the largest brands in the world globally. The overwhelming majority of them are a franchise in some regard. Even these huge, large retail chains, like these retail chains, they still have, like, it may not be a true franchise, but it's got that franchise model to it, right?
Right.
So with that, we're creating strategic partners and people that truly have ownership. Who who operates better than an owner that's actually an owner,
Right.
So we landed on that, and in the summer of 2022, we made that decision that that's what we were going to do. In the spring of 23, we opened our first franchise location that I no longer had control of and owned, and from there we've since awarded 35
Wow.
35-ish territories. It's looking like we may end up with 50 awarded territories by the end of 2025, and I anticipate at least 100 territories awarded by the end of 26.
Yeah. So why do you think this is working? Like,
Because we're the best, man. Why do I think it's working?
And like, what are attracting, contractors to this model versus just trying to do it on their own?
I think that there's a lot of different answers to that. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and bundle it all up. I think the introduction of private equity is putting pressure on your average contractor to say, oh crap, I need to evolve, and I need to evolve very quickly, but I don't have the time, resources, or skill set to evolve. So I think naturally they're looking for somewhere or some type of shortcut to help to elevate their business to get them where they believe that they need to be in order to compete. I also think it's working. We talked about it last night because of technology. So when you have multiple locations, multiple owner operators and entities under your leadership, you need to have good data. You need to have good reporting. You need to create consistency. You need to have a system that creates a great customer experience that's replicatable. Super hard when you don't have people coming to a retail chain and in and out of your store where you're going to the consumer. You're sitting at a kitchen table with these people. So I believe that the advancements in technology have allowed us to do it. And then the reason that I believe that we're successful specifically is because I'm a contractor. Like I'm not some guy in a C-level position that sits in a high rise right down the street here in New York City and points fingers and looks at things that I can get a kickback on that sound flashy, but the practical application of them is very poor.
Yeah.
We still own and operate a location. We took our location, our flagship, and it is a franchise location. So
you're in the trenches with the guys.
we run an 8-figure business that we're able to test and battle test things before we take it to our franchisees and our strategic partners and get them to invest their money in it.
Yeah.
Which to me is a big deal. If I'm going to tell you to put your money there, I better be putting my money there as well.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I bring, and my team brings a lot of construction experience, but we also bring that technical side where we understand what's going on with technology as well. Lester helped to scale one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best CRM systems back in the day. So we have that perspective. I'm 31 years old, so like I know my way around an iPhone and I understand technology and consumer habits. The rest of our team, like we got killers, man.
Yeah.
And we're bringing a few more on before the end of the year. The thing about my team is they are all so laser focused on the mission.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever said this publicly, but I believe that every single one of them is underpaid. And I wish I could pay them more, but we're still in the infancy of this organization, and they all understand that, and they're all okay with that because they trust me, they trust us to do the right thing in the long run.
Yeah.
But everybody on our team is so bought into the mission that we have here. Everybody here, I feel very confident in saying that they're not here for a paycheck. They're here for something bigger. And to be able to have a mission that people can get behind and feel that way about is, I mean, how could you stop that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm super grateful to have some really good people. But I think a lot of that comes from leadership and how we operate and building trust to let people know that, hey, you're in good hands and you will get rewarded for the sacrifices that you're making.
For the consumer out there that's, in the market for home remodeling of, the exterior, why would they go to a CR3 franchise versus Joe Roofing down the street? What is the difference going to be?
It's a great question. We're in an industry, roofing specifically, and you joked earlier that we don't just do roofing.
Yeah.
Roofing, siding, windows, doors, gutters, commercial and residential, but roofing specifically has become somewhat commoditized. So it's a great question of what makes anybody any different. What makes a GM dealership different than the next GM dealership, right? We all sell the same shingles. We all, a lot of us share subcontractors, very candidly. So what truly makes you different and unique? The manufacturers have these statuses with extended manufacturer-backed warranties that a lot of us can offer. So if me and you are sitting across from a consumer, you have the same manufacturer status, you're selling the same product as me, and you're able to offer the same warranty. Why would you pay, why would a consumer pay any more, right? So that's something that we look at daily is how do we differentiate ourselves from our competitors in the marketplace? And our legal team that we work with said something I've brought it up 100 different times since they said it. I said, you can't do McDonald's without McDonald's. And that stuck with me. And I'm like, oh man, we need to create something that's so freaking sticky.
Yeah.
That you can't run a CR3 without CR3. We need such good technology, such good operating systems, such good relationships with the vendors, unique selling opportunities for these people where if they wanted to go do it themselves, they could never replicate what we have. So that really stuck with me. And that's a constant evolution of trying to navigate that and give our franchisees and our strategic partners a leg up on the competition, knowing that roofing for the most part has become commoditized.
Yeah. And I think, one of the differentiators for you guys is you're kind of laser focused on the customer experience, and keeping them informed along the way of like what's going on with their job. Whereas, maybe Joe Roofing or Joe Shingles down the street doesn't really communicate that well.
Our mission is very simple. It's make every customer our advocate. That we're a very customer centric focused organization, and a lot of people say that. But like we reinvest a lot of money back into our customers. You saw a little presentation last night how every single customer gets a gift from us. So very, very focused on that. And if we have to, I don't want to do this, but if we have to, I will inconvenience our team to make sure that customer has a great experience. So we're also looking at ways where like technology has the ability to replace human interaction, but if it's going to hurt the customer experience, then we're not going to do it. If it saves us money, I don't care.
Right.
I care that customer has the best experience possible. That way they come back for repeat business and they refer friends and family members, because in this industry, in the construction industry, if all you're going to do is try to spend your way in terms of marketing to riches, you're going to run very low profit margins, and you're going to have a hard time making money and making the proper investments year over year to continue to grow your organization. So we rely very heavily on repeat business. Now, there's a cost to do business and introduce yourself to a new marketplace.
Sure.
But once you're there for 2 years, we want 75% of your revenue to be generated from referrals.
Right. And your best customers come from your best customers.
Of course.
Yeah.
So that's a good idea. And, you don't want to be competing with, all the other lowest quotes and all that other BS online. And, it's a race to the bottom. So you guys are trying to keep high standards, high quality, products being installed and making sure the customer's happy.
One thing that I have observed, which is unique about franchising and what we do, is as organizations in our industry, exteriors, as they get bigger, their cost to the consumer gets higher. But almost every other industry, as they get bigger, the cost to the consumer goes down. So I've always looked at that and wondered, like, why is that the way that it is? And the reason it is that way, that I have found, is cost per acquisition just continues to go up and up and up. And these people have to get creative to get repeat business. A lot of them have very hard selling closing tactics that yield a negative customer experience. Hey, I feel like I got forced to purchase this. Well, guess what? That person, when they find out that they paid double for their roof or their siding than using the contractor that services the local marketplace that has 600 5-star reviews, they're going to be pretty irritated. They're probably not going to refer you. So the very cool thing about franchising versus some of these really large corporate orgs is you still have that owner operator that operates in that local marketplace that has the freedom and flexibility to keep overhead very low because they're running it out of their own location. With the advancements of technology and then the support that we bring at corporate with like call centers and stuff like that, it helps to reduce their overhead so that they can run a 5, 10, $15 million shop with way less overhead than I had coming up, which ultimately can, if the franchisee wants to, pass those benefits along to the consumer. They have the ability to do that versus all of us growing as this massive org and overhead continuing to go up, where we have to then push that off to the end consumer. Franchising is a little bit different because we have economies at scale because of purchasing power and relationships. But at the local level, the overhead is very reduced. So it's actually beneficial to the end consumer for a franchise versus a large corporate entity coming in because the overhead is so much lower at the local level.
Yeah, and they get local knowledge and customer service, but national economies of scale.
Correct. Yep.
With the roofing. Well, sounds like you guys have it figured out.
I wouldn't say we have it all figured out, but we're getting there.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Where do I see ourselves at in the next 5 years? I have a printout in our office, and quite a few of us over here at CR3 have it on the background of our laptops or our computers, which is 250 locations by 2029. So is
nationwide?
That's 4 years. At 250 locations, the country warrants about 600 or 700 locations in terms of like our territory size because it's population driven. And there's some populations like inner cities that are not very helpful to us. It's unusable real estate for the most part, especially being that we do commercial and residential, but heavy residential. So there is some unusable population. You have high-rise apartments in New York City with 50,000 people, and I'm like, that the population doesn't go very far. What's your service area look like? So anyway, at 250 locations, we figure at that point we're servicing just about every major city and have very strong reach in every major city throughout the United States, where we have a national presence at that point. Where we have became, for the most part, a household name in the exterior space.
That's awesome.
That's phenomenal.
Well, I appreciate you coming on here, telling your story.
Yes,
we could probably talk for hours, but I know you're a busy man. Got to get back to the grindstone. It was awesome hearing your story, how you came up, and one thing I'm taking away from this is you put the right people in the right seats early, and tried not to do it all yourself
and self-invest as well.
Yeah, so one of the things that we didn't touch on, and I try to teach people through the things that I learned and the things that I feel gave me a strategic advantage in the marketplace. And for the first 4 years of this business, keep in mind, our fourth full year in business, we did 14.7 million. You know how much I paid myself every single year to get to that point?
No.
50 grand a year.
Oh my God.
We were doing just under $15 million, and the CEO was paying himself 50 grand a year. Now I had a truck and fuel, so it's probably like making 80,000 or 100,000. But a lot of people try to get too far ahead of themselves, and everybody wants that fat salary. Everybody wants to go ball out. But the thing that I recognized very early on was, one, I got to put the right people in the right positions in order to scale and grow this thing, because I can't do everything. And the other thing that I recognize is if I operate this business for selfish reason, I'm going to cut us off at the legs. Because if I'm pulling $250,000 a year out of the organization, well, I could hire 3 or 4 people with that money.
Right.
How much further can I get there? So it allowed me to grow so much faster than my competition, because my competition was out buying Lamborghinis and Ferraris and McLarens and shit. And
you're reinvesting.
Meanwhile, I'm spending 50 grand on myself. I can hardly afford groceries. But I was okay with that, because I knew that every dollar that I put back into the business, whether it yielded a positive return or not, we were learning, we were growing, we were reinvesting into the marketplace. And that over time, that compounding interest over time of that dollar going to work for you allows you to do things that others in the marketplace can't. When we decided to franchise, it cost us 100 grand just to file some of the legal paperwork. You got to have money to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And that was one of the biggest things that I did right, was recognize that every dollar that I take out of this organization is a dollar that I'm not investing in my future. And I'm still a relatively young man, and I don't pay myself. This organization, CR3, the franchise concept, I don't pay myself. I haven't made a dollar for 2.5 years because I am on a mission to grow something that is going to be just so massive and huge. And I don't want selfish reasons to get in the way of me and my team and people like Lester and Marcy and the people that we're bringing in, to feel like I made selfish decisions for myself that hurt the ability for them to chase their own dream.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. That just comes down to delayed gratification, and it's a lost art, in a lot of small business owners.
It's tough because you don't know if it's going to work or not.
Yeah.
So as you start to get a little bit older, you got people in your ear saying, well, you never know what could happen. Like you don't know, the future's not guaranteed. And the thing that I tell those people is like, dude, I can, if you have a good skill set, if you're a good person, you bring value to the marketplace, you can always just go get a job.
True.
So like, what's the worst thing that happens? We reinvest all this money and it falls flat on its face. Well, I would rather give it everything that I have and live with the fact that we tried, but we didn't quite get there, versus live with the regret of not doing anything.
And what if?
Yeah, and the what if. So it's a big part of who made us what we are, and I'm going to continue to operate that way until I don't have to operate that way.
Well, I think you're going to be changing the lives of a lot of contractors across the country. And I know you and Lester are really passionate about that, like showing them a better way, just like you did with your dad, of not just having to use their hands, but using their head. And that's going to give people time and money freedom that they otherwise wouldn't have. So, me and Greg wish you guys the best of luck. And, if there's any way for us to partner in the future, with that, we're definitely open to it.
Let us know.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
That's Carney Freifogel III by way of Hanover, PA. Thanks for coming on, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
They call us the snack food capital of the world, right?
The snack food capital of the world. They did tell me that. Thank you.